I was having one of those rare, perfect Saturdays you try not to jinx by saying it out loud. The promotion email was still open on my phone. The receipt for the couch of our dreams tucked in my wallet and in my hand. Because I was feeling a little reckless was a glossy bag with a red ribbon and a bracelet Lena had circled in a magazine months ago. I was coasting down the marble spine of the Riverton Galleria feeling 10 feet tall when I felt eyes on the back of my neck. And then I heard it. Security over here. This thug is on drugs and stalking me. Everything around me froze like someone turned down the volume on life. I turned and saw her tailored tweed oversprayed perfume that hit before she did, hair sprayed into architecture, a ring that could flag down satellites. She was pointing at me with this trembling, righteous finger, and for a second I couldn't even process the words. I'm a black man in a white shirt holding shopping bags, and suddenly I'm the headline in her head. The guard came like a summoned storm, barrel-chested buzzcut, the kind of posture that eats space without trying. "Sir, what's the problem?" he asked me while his body faced her, one hand near the baton, as if I'd already decided to make his day interesting. I held up the bag's rookie mistake. Her eyes caught the logos and her mouth twisted. "He's been circling me from the jewelry store," she hissed, then raised her voice so the crowd could hear. "Look at his eyes. He's high. He's waiting to grab my purse." "Check the cameras," I said, palms open. "Nothing in them but air and bad luck. Please." "We'll sort that out in the office," the guard said. And just like that, when I was the center of a slow, humiliating parade past a food court that smelled like butter and judgment. The security room was what you'd expect: gray paint, stale coffee, CCTV screens like blank faces. The guard, his tag said Dale, sat me in a hard chair, then offered the woman water in a paper cup like her throat was sore from fighting crime. The name she gave was Vivian Harrow, and she dialed 911 with a practiced whisper that sounded like a stage whisper in church. "I'm in the security office. An aggressive man followed me. I think he's armed. Please hurry." It was so calmly theatrical I almost laughed, and then the laugh died because once you say those words in that order, the rest of the room behaves like they're true. 2 officers came in, professional faces, careful hands. They patted me down, found keys, and a wallet with too many loyalty cards. The woman officer talked to Vivian and Dale. I could hear pieces shifty, waiting, threatened, and with every word I felt my Saturday crumpling like a receipt. They wouldn't arrest me, they said, but the mall could trespass me for a year. The paper slid across the desk. Sign to acknowledge. Vivian watched from the doorway by a rippling fountain, wearing victory like a brooch. I took a rideshare home with my bags feeling like props. I told Lena the whole thing on our lumpy couch we were supposed to retire, and I watched the excitement drain from her face and settle into that tight, concerned look people wear when they're counting the cost for you. "We'll fight it," I said, because if I didn't say it, I was going to break something. The fight started with a browser and too much coffee. She'd bragged people like Vivian always do about her husband being on the boards of the anchor stores. I hunted corporate sites, investor pages, gala photos. There she was in a society blog, Vivian on the stairs of the art museum, smile like a verdict. I took that name to a civil rights attorney named Gabriel Alvarez, a calm man who listened with his whole face. He ticked off possibilities like a grocery list, defamation, malicious prosecution, discrimination, and then gave me the hard part. It would be slow, expensive, and mean. We sent demand letters to the mall and to Vivian: apologize, rescind the trespass, preserve the footage, compensate the damage. For 2 weeks, silence. Then letters like ice water. The mall said footage auto-deleted after 14 days. Vivian's lawyer called me an extortionist in a velvet glove, cease and desist. They'd waited out the clock and kicked evidence into the sun. So we sued. Paperwork is a different kind of violence. Motions to dismiss objections, fees you feel in your teeth. I kept working my new job. I tried to sleep. I failed. And then I made a mistake that turned out to be a blessing. I searched Dale the guard. He had a private profile but a public fundraiser, his wife chemo bills that don't blink. It didn't excuse what he did, but it explained the lump in his throat when he avoided my eyes. Fear is a currency, and Vivian had paid him in it. At his deposition, Dale came in wearing an off-the-rack suit and the look of a man who'd been coached until his words had splinters. Alvarez started patient. "Where were you? What did you see?" And Dale stuck to the script. Then Alvarez slid the printout of the GoFundMe across the table and spoke like a human being. "I'm sorry you're going through this," he said, and the room tilted. Dale stared at the photo of his wife smiling under a bandana, and you could see the rehearsal drain out of him. "She lied," he said softly. "She picked him, and I went along." The mall's attorneys called a recess like they were trying to catch a falling plate. The following week, an anonymous email landed at my company dripping poison. I was violent, unstable, a risk. HR put me on paid leave while they reviewed which is corporate for. We're scared of headlines. Alvarez filed for sanctions, retaliation, witness intimidation. Dale, now suspended, called through his own attorney and asked to meet. He looked hollowed out, voice sandpaper. "They're trying to ruin us," he said. Then he gave us the key. There was a backup camera system, an overlapping lens near the luxury wing recorded off-site. They can't purge it the same way he said. They lied. We filed an emergency motion to compel. The judge set a hearing, and the mall's head of security would have to testify under oath about retention policies and servers. Before that date arrived, a small gray box showed up at Alvarez's office by courier with a chain of custody form. We plugged in the drive and watched my day play from a high angle, silent and unforgiving. There I was, strolling with my ridiculous grin and my shopping bags. There was Vivian, seeing me changing lanes through the crowd to cut me off, closing distance, jabbing a finger into the air like a conductor. It was all there, the way my hands were up, the way Dale squared to me, the way we walked to the back corridor like a funeral. None of it needed sound. Alvarez made 2 copies. One stayed with us. One went to the district attorney with Dale's affidavit and the 911 recording. The mall suddenly remembered how to be reasonable. They offered money, life-changing money, and conditions. We added our own, a written apology from their CEO, Dale, reinstated with back pay and mandatory bias and de-escalation training by a firm we approved. They signed. I can't talk about the settlement, but I can tell you what it bought me: a house with trees that talk when the wind gets playful, a couch that Lena now guards like a dragon, a little more room to breathe. Vivian, meanwhile, met a different room. The indictment hit the front page: false report, perjury. Boards cut her loose like bad rope. Her defense tried to paint her as confused and frightened, as if fear rewrites video. At trial, I sat under oath and told the jury about the kind of day where you want the world to be kind for 5 minutes. We watched the tape together. We listened to her breathy 911 act. Dale told the truth he should have told first, and apologized without asking me to do anything in return. The jury was gone less than 2 hours. Guilty. The judge spoke directly to Vivian about the danger of weaponizing panic, and he gave her a real sentence, county time, not a weekend or a seminar. I didn't cheer. I just felt my shoulders let go of a weight I'd been carrying since the fountain's echo swallowed my name. After sentencing, life didn't snap back. It reassembled. My job called me in and apologized with eyes and opportunities. Dale wrote me a letter from a smaller town where rent behaves better and the air is easier on his wife. He said telling the truth cost him, but it bought him back his sleep. I sat at our new dining table and read it twice, then put it in the drawer where we keep the passports and the important things you don't want to lose by accident. Months later, I pushed my daughter's stroller through a different mall to buy tiny sneakers with tiny stars. For a second, I felt that old scan the faces, the exits, the look you learn, because sometimes the room reads you wrong. Then she looked up at me with a grin that crumpled her cheeks, and I remembered the scar is a map, not a prophecy. I paid, we wandered the world, kept not ending. People ask me, did you win? I think about the price, sleepless nights, lawyer bills, a relationship tested by stress and quiet fear. I think about the video that didn't lie, and the apology letter with an expensive letterhead about a woman who learned the hard way that power isn't a permission slip. I think about the training those guards had to sit through and wonder if the next guy will make a different choice when a finger points and a story starts writing itself out loud. If you were on that jury, would you have pushed for jail time or said probation was enough? If you were Dale mortgage due, wife ill, a woman with a board seat demanding a narrative, what choice would you have made and how fast? And if you've ever been read as the problem before anyone asked you a single question, what did you do with the anger afterward? Drop your take in the comments. Tell me where you think justice landed, where it missed, and what you would have done differently. Share this if you've seen a story like this play out in your town, and hit subscribe if you want more real stories about communities' conflict and the messy business of getting it right.